Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Welcome back to the second episode of TheCWSA Today, the only show in sub-Saharan Africa that looks exclusively at the protection and the preservation of children's rights, brought to you by Child Welfare SA. I am your host, Vuyo Cholwana, and today I am joined in studio by the Acting National Executive Director, Dr. Benny Ubayi. Thank you so much for joining me again.
Thank you.
So today we are profiling TheCWSA's president, such an important position, of course. And we are talking about Mr. Ajit Ramasere. And before we get him on the line, I'd be interested to know, Doctor, what your relationship with the president has been and sort of what kind of leader has he sort of showcased?
Thank you. We're excited that we're having the second segment of the show, and we're actually excited because this has taken off, and it's a dream that we've had for a long time. And talking about the Child Welfare South Africa president, it's because of his leadership that we're actually having this kind of show.
Yes.
Because he's a very supportive leader, and he's led Child Welfare South Africa through different situations and circumstances, and he's been stable and carried the organization all through the challenges the organization has been going through.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that is holding the organization together, because he's been the pillar that has been supporting the different aspects of the organization that is just not been stable for a long time. So he's that kind of a leader.
And from a character perspective, what kind of character is he? Is he well-spoken? Is he... I've never met him, so I'd really like the people listening to really sort of picture him in their minds.
Well, he's a warm-hearted person, and he's lovely, and he's also outgoing. He's soft-spoken, but he's a very generous person.
Lovely. And I believe actually we have the man of the moment on the line, Mr. Ajit Ramasere, the president of TheCWSA, which is Child Welfare South Africa. Good morning to you, sir. Is he not on? Oh, okay. Having a bit of technical difficulties, but we will definitely get him on the line in the next few minutes. But Doctor, actually, let's get into leadership and how important it is that organizations such as TheCWSA have the right kind of leaders in place.
Yeah, it's very important because, as we discussed last week, Child Welfare is a very unique and dynamic organization, and it requires dynamic and vibrant leadership to be able to support the work of the organization. So when you look at an organization like Child Welfare, that's been around for close to 94 years now,
yes.
The process of having someone lead the organization is not something that anyone can just come up and assume the position. And also because we have so many member organizations, we have so many affiliates, diverse and with different dynamics, that bring in a lot of vibrancy to the organization. Someone with the kind of quality that he has, that is able to listen to everyone. He's a lawyer by profession, and he's able to listen to everyone, take everyone's view into consideration, and ensure that stability, that there's no one that feels like they're not being heard or considered, their views are not being heard or factored in.
Yes. Would you think this platform is going to be a great way to really get the vision across for all the affiliates and all the directors and all the boards and everyone who's involved in Child Welfare SA? Do you think that, having this platform is going to strengthen his leadership capabilities?
Yes. That's part of the objectives of this, that such visions and ideas, such things that he's not able to communicate to the wider public or to the wider audience, that using such a platform as this would make it easier for him to, and for other leaders in the organization and other board members as well. And also the board members at the local level that will be able to utilize this opportunity to get across the message they want to get to the wider public, across.
Definitely. And I think what's going to be great is that there's going to be feedback as we go on to the show, and more affiliates and more people involved and people wanting to know a little bit more about CWSA can call in, can tweet, and you can just let us know where they can find you just quickly.
Yes. Our website is www.childwelfaresouthafrica.org.za, and our Facebook is Child Welfare South Africa, and our Twitter handle is at childwelfare_SA.
Definitely. That was Dr. Benny Obai talking about a little bit about feedback and the importance of feedback from the affiliates, but more importantly, how that feedback resonates into leadership. And as I said today, we're talking to or profiling Mr. Ajit Ramasea, who is the leader of Child Welfare SA, one of the biggest, the oldest children's organizations in South Africa. So you do not want to miss that conversation. I'm so excited to be talking to him on the line. For now, we're just going to take a short ad break, and then we'll be back on TheCWSA Today.
You're listening to brandlive.co.za, an industry first in the world of internet radio. Not only are we an internet radio station, we are an internet radio platform for your brand. So why not expose your brand to potentially thousands of listeners and improve your customer relationships and brand equity with podcasts and live broadcasts? Be sure to check brandlive.co.za for more information. Brandlive.co.za, harnessing the power of internet radio.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Grow! Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.bstownmedia.co.za.
You're listening to brandlive.co.za.
You're back on CWSA Today, and I'm joined by Dr. Benny Obai. In fact, he is the acting National Executive Director, and I think it's very important that I also ask you as a leader how you have used your capabilities to strengthen CWSA, but also how those leadership capabilities are in connection with the Mr. Ajit Ramasea.
Okay. Like I mentioned earlier on, he provides the overall, support and guidance from the board level, and the board provides, the leadership that is required for the organization. But on the administrative side, I work with a team of great people that, has been very supportive, the staff members, and across both at the national level and in the provinces, and they provide the kind of support that makes it much easier because as the acting executive director, basically I share the vision with the team, and then the team help make things happen. And I'm glad to say that I'm fortunate to have a great team of people that provide the kind of support and the quality of support that is required to not just keep the organization afloat, but make the organization the leading child protection organization in the country.
Definitely. And as I said, we have the man of the moment online, Mr. Ajit Ramasea. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, ma'am. Nice speaking to you.
Thank you so much for joining us on CWSA Today.
My pleasure.
Your personal journey with CWSA is something that I don't think a lot of people know about. Can you just give us a little bit of a biography and a history of your affiliation and where your heart, how you got into CWSA, and what were the motivations around that?
Okay, my personal journey with Child Welfare South Africa actually commenced approximately 43 years ago.
Wow.
When I joined Child Welfare South Africa Mzinto as a member.
Yes.
Now, Mzinto, is a little rural town situated just to the interior of the south coast of KwaZulu-Natal, and it was a place where I was born and brought up. Now, shortly after joining, I was elected its treasurer, and I am to date a management committee member of the said affiliate. I have served Child Welfare South Africa Mzinto as its chairman for approximately 17 years.
Wow.
But of course, I am now no longer its chairman. Just to go a little further regarding the question that you asked me,
Yes.
and going back 43 years ago,
Wow.
I was really taken aback when, as a volunteer, which I still am today,
Yes.
we were expected to do casework when we visited families, sometimes at night, in order to determine their needs and their wants, and to see how best we can improve the living conditions of families. Over the years, of course, this has changed in that we now have trained social workers who attend to these. I'm still a volunteer at Child Welfare South Africa Mzinto, and render assistance and give advice whenever I am called to do so.
That's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about how does one become president of Child Welfare SA? Because I know you have an amazing history with the organization, but what are the characteristics that would have made you or would have granted you the access that you have today, which is the president of this amazing organization?
Okay, yes, I think it goes back to the beginning again.
Yes.
My involvement with TheCWSA, that's the national, began in a small way by virtue of my being a member of Child Welfare South Africa Mzinto. With time, I became more and more involved with the movement and was at some stage elected to be a member of the provincial board of KZN,
Yes.
that's KwaZulu-Natal. From this position, I graduated to being chairperson of the KwaZulu-Natal provincial board, and at about this time, I was elected to represent KwaZulu-Natal at the National Board of Child Welfare South Africa. I have been a member of the National Board for about 12 years now, and I am now serving my second term as president of Child Welfare South Africa National, having been elected to this position at the last two elections to elect office bearers, national board members, and provincial board members. I am now serving as president for a continuous period of 5 years, and hope to remain in this position for the next 2 years,
Yes.
when my 2 terms would expire, and I would then, in terms of the Constitution, be obliged to stand down.
Yes.
Now, you wanted to know how one goes about becoming the president of Child Welfare South Africa. Well, that's, I think it's mainly has to do with personal commitments or what have you.
Yeah.
But the road to becoming president of Child Welfare South Africa is one that requires total commitment, integrity, and honesty
Yes.
to serve in this role of the largest NGO in South Africa. I believe that one is expected to give up oneself in a committed and dedicated manner for a number of years to the movement to become president of Child Welfare. The president is expected to further the objects of Child Welfare South Africa, and that is to protect and promote the development, interest, safety, and well-being of children
Yes.
within the context of family and community, and to safeguard the rights of children at all times.
Yes.
One needs to be passionate about the well-being of the children of our wonderful country, many of whom are in desperate need of care, maintenance, and support.
Definitely. Now the difference.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
That is it.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. So there's quite a process for you to become the president, and process for you to become affiliate from a provincial and a national level. Can you just give us a bit of the difference, or the idea around
Yes,
the different management boards? Yes.
I think what would help would be, a very brief discussion or, my advising you of the organizational structure of child welfare.
Yes.
You see, it is made up of affiliates which are registered NPOs and are the most independent category of members within Child Welfare South Africa. Affiliates are self-sustainable. Its members are, like me, all volunteers. We then have the branches, which are partially independent members within Child Welfare South Africa. They are organizations which are supported by Child Welfare South Africa in terms of capabilities and funding. Now, lastly, we have the service units, which are the most dependent category of members within Child Welfare South Africa. These will be developing organizations. Now, each of these members follow the principles contributing to the benefit of TheCWSA, that's Child Welfare, as a whole, and shall adhere to the constitutional policies and procedures of Child Welfare South Africa. They are expected to portray a common identity and face to both the public and the beneficiaries.
Yes.
Now, you've got to bear with me when it comes to this point. You heard last week from our acting NED, Dr. Benny Obai, that we have 164 affiliates nationwide that go up to make Child Welfare South Africa. Now, the structure of these affiliates, how we go about, getting to the General Assembly is as follows. Each affiliate has a management board which is involved and responsible for the running of the affiliate.
Yes.
These are all volunteers, mind you. The affiliates in each province then elect members to serve on the provincial board, and the chairman of each provincial board in all provinces then serves on the national board,
Yes.
of which I am president. So this sort of gives it, total representativity.
Definitely.
At national board level, we have 9 provinces being represented, as well as 2 staff representatives, in addition to the president, vice president, and treasurer.
Okay.
The highest decision-making body within Child Welfare South Africa is the General Assembly, which meets every 3 years. And, this is, when I spoke about representation, well, the General Assembly comprises delegates from Child Welfare South Africa members, national board members, invited guests, invited consultants.
Yes.
The General Assembly is the final authority and ultimate responsibility for setting CWSA policy direction, and decision-making shall be vested in the GA at all times.
Yes.
So here you see that we have it structured in such a way that right from the bottom to the top, we make sure that there is inclusivity in
Yes.
the sense that all our affiliates, all our branches, even our service units do have a say when it comes to the General Assembly. Now, the management of the affairs of CWSA is vested in the National Board,
Yes.
which has numerous powers. The day-to-day urgent matters in between National Board meetings are dealt with by EXCO, that is the Executive Committee of the National Board. The provincial boards are in turn expected to perform the functions within their own provinces, amongst other things, identifying the needs affecting children, coordinating child welfare services in the province, and acting as an advocate for children and negotiating with provincial governments. So we are doing the best we can, ma'am, to ensure that all our structures are given the say that they should have in terms of our constitution. And in this way, we believe that we can be as democratic as possible
Definitely.
in thereby ensuring that CWSA represents the views of all its members.
That's very true. And I think, with representation and with inclusivity, there's a lot of responsibility as well. So I'm quite interested to find out how you then really maintain your vision, a strong vision, when you have so many people who have really important concerns, but you have to sort of find the common space. I wonder how, as a leader and as the president, how you are able to organize and manage those issues of vision, and how, what kind of vision you have for the organization going forward.
Yes. This is not an easy thing to have to attend to, but, I'm very fortunate in the sense that we have affiliates, and I believe that the affiliates are behind our national board.
Yes.
The affiliates actually do a lot of our groundwork for us. We are involved in lobbying, for the appropriate legislations to be passed. We are involved in advocacy and all these things at national level.
Yes.
And we try and disseminate as much information as we can to our affiliates, to our provincial structures, to ensure that they are up to date with what is going around regarding the child protection movement as such. Now, my vision for the movement is for a financially stable Child Welfare South Africa, and a South Africa where all our children, women, and indeed families are treated with mutual respect, love, and dignity.
Yes.
My vision is for all children to be given all the opportunities to allow them to develop to their fullest potential. We need funds to do this, and I'm taking advantage of my position here by appealing to all our listeners to donate to Child Welfare South Africa to make sure that it becomes totally sustainable, and to make sure that we render the core business that is expected of us, and that is child protection. Yes.
Definitely. Knowing that this is obviously the largest and biggest organization in South Africa, oldest also, and I did speak to Dr. Benny Obai last week a little bit about it, but I really want to know, from your opinion, what are the changes that we're going to see, given that it's a really, really, it's got a rich history. However, the future is coming with different things and innovation and technology. How are we as CWSA adapting to those changes?
Ma'am, there's just one thing. I think we need to focus. CWSA, all its affiliates, all its members, we all need to focus. We all need to focus on the primary object, the primary reason as to why we are there as an organization. And that is to ensure that our children receive the best that they can in this country.
Yes.
And I think that, therefore, we are compelled. If we focus and we keep this vision in mind, I think we'd be able to overcome all the obstacles that we are presented with, whether it's advanced technology or what have you. But we try and keep abreast with developments, and we're hoping to see a South Africa where children are not sexually violated,
yes.
they're not raped,
yes.
where they're taken care of, where they brought up properly. After all, they are our citizens of tomorrow. We need to look up to them in days to come. And it is important that we nurture them and bring them up in a manner that would ensure that they realize their full potential, as I mentioned earlier.
Definitely, I completely agree with you. Thank you so much for joining us today, President. I think
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, I think it's been.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity.
No, definitely. CWSA Today is here to stay, and we will be hearing from you more often on the show, which is going to be great for our viewers and for people who want to know a little bit more about CWSA. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you for having me on board. Bye-bye.
Bye.
brandlive.co.za. Making a bold statement yet blending into the surrounding suburbs of Melville, 27 Boxes is a realization of edgy design and practical implementation. A radical departure from the shopping malls of our generation, yet not a return to the high streets of our youth. 27 Boxes showcases the best of a shopping centre set in a garden, surrounded by the bohemian suburb that is Melville. 27 Boxes, shop, play, eat.
We're back on CWSA Today, and if you missed the very first segment of the show, you missed out on some knowledge and some insight on how CWSA works, but more than that, the kind of vision and the leader that they have on board. And I think after that conversation, I am well informed and I am really excited about the future of CWSA and also just where it's going from a change perspective, from a vision perspective, and also just in terms of the organizational structures. I think they're doing a great job to make sure everybody is represented. So you can catch that on our podcast. That will be coming out really soon. By the end of the day, you'll be able to catch up on something that you may have missed out on. But just to conclude the show, I'm going to talk to the doctor who's with me in studio. I know he's been a bit quiet, but he's still here. He's still okay. We're talking a little bit about your Nelson Mandela Day initiative that CWSA recently came up with. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we're really excited because this year we're taking things to a different level,
yes.
and we're looking at how to create greater impact. Previous years, we had Nelson Mandela Day events, but we partnered with other organizations,
yes.
and we just went to a few schools or a few organizations and just worked there. But this year, we started a discussion with an agency, and we're thinking of how to collaborate with different corporates and different organizations to create bigger impact. And we're looking at how to reach out to close to 200 child and youth care centers
wow.
and creches that we have in the country. We're still developing the idea, and probably by next week we'll be able to give all the details on how it's going to work, because it's an idea that is still evolving. It's an
Definitely.
idea that we're still talking to different corporates, but we're telling people be expectant and be excited, because we're coming with something brand new and something really exciting that would benefit not just the bigger the people out there, but also our member organizations. So that's the kind of thing we're looking at.
Definitely. So big program coming out of CWSA, where they're going to be looking at how they can contribute to making sure that the rights of children in South Africa are preserved and the dignity of children is maintained. You don't want to miss out. And if you want to know a little bit more, you can go on to brandlive.co.za and we'll have the lowdown for you. Also, if you're in corporate and you're looking for something to do for Mandela Day, I think this is exactly the kind of platform you want to be involved with. Not only are they the largest children's organization in South Africa, but they're so present and so alive. So you really want to work with an organization that is going to make sure that your needs are served and the needs of the community is served. But anyway, that concludes our show for the day. It's our second episode. We're still babies, but we're crawling, and we're gonna be here for long, for the rest of the year, hopefully. That's me, Virtualana, signing out for CWSA with
Ben hereby.
Definitely, and you can find them also on social media, on their handles
At Child Welfare SA at Child Welfare _SA, and our website is www.childwelfaresa.org.za.
Lovely, and that's it from us, CWSA Today.
brandlive.co.za